Shalom and peace be upon you from our God Yahweh, the God of my fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I am King David, ruler of all Israel. I am here today to tell you a story of my youth, when I was but a lad tending to my father's flocks. I have not always been king of Israel. In fact, I have not always been a great warrior. In my infant stages, my father raised me to have respect for property, to have respect for another man's goods. And in those lessons, my father taught me to care for his flocks. Now, it is not customary for the youngest of the family to have the honor and the privilege of caring for a flock. But my father entrusted me with the flocks of our house. And entrusting me with the flocks of our house, I had the opportunity to stand alone in the fields with hundreds of thousands of sheep. And during those days, it was just me, thousands of my father's flocks, and Yahweh himself. In those moments of isolation when it was just me, in those moments of desolation when I felt neglected because I was the only child of Jesse to be caring for the flocks, I played my harp and I sang songs to the Lord. It was moments of solace for me. It was quiet time in the fields that I learned to commune with the Almighty God himself. And I began to understand what it meant, not only for me to care for my father's flocks, but how my father cared for me. It was as if I, David, the son of Jesse, was his sheep. Not only was I his sheep, but I was a sheep of his pasture. And he cared for me like I cared for my father's flocks. And that was awe-inspiring to me, because I would not let my father's flocks go hungry. I always made sure they were fed. Thus, I began to realize that Yahweh would always make sure I was fed. If my father's flocks ever thirsted, I would lead them beside still water that they may drink. And I began to realize, if I ever hunger or thirst, my father, Yahweh, he would lead me beside still waters. One day I realized that from his guiding and his protection of me, my cup of blessings run over, so much so that I could not contain it. In the fields I realized that his goodness and his mercy would follow me all the days of my life, as long as I dwelled in his house. I sang, yea, I sang, the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want for anything. I sing, the Lord is my light and my salvation, of whom shall I fear? I sang, in thee, O Lord, do I put my trust. Let me never be ashamed, and lead me beside thy path of righteousness. I wrote many Tehillim during those days in the fields. And many of the songs I wrote to my God as peace and mercy from my heart. They have been transcribed into a book. I believe you call them psalms. But to me, they were Tehillim, praises to Yahweh. You see, when you are forgotten about, as I was, when you are looked over, as I was, when you are relegated to caring for something that is important, but not as important as other things in your Father's house, understand that God, Yahweh, sees all, and He knows all. And just as you are faithful over the things that your Father has entrusted you to, no matter how small, no matter how insignificant, know that He will one day make you ruler over many things. I am King David, ruler of all of Israel. I once was a shepherd boy. I once was a warrior for God, and now I am a king. May His peace and His mercy be upon you for all the days of your life.